the Sanctuary of Light, and the Light Institute. Welcome each and all of you to this time of knowings, and invite you to bring forward the questions of your hearts, so that in our conversing, we can create a kind of energy that supports not only ourselves, and ourselves from a spiritual perspective, but all those other beings that join us. So please.
Could you talk about the potential of the human race so that we can kind of get an idea about it and hold it in our minds, as mind?
I think it's a wonderful question for this year, which is the year of freedom, the 5-year of freedom. Because up until now we've been saying, who am I? Who am I? What is my purpose? And in that, we have held too small our potential. In one of my books, in all of my books really, I talk about our devic DNA, our galactic DNA, our angelic DNA, and all of those are part of the composition of our potential, which means that we can call upon the experiences of our great-great-grandparents. We can call upon the wisdom of beings who inhabit other realms, other dimensions, but are nevertheless sentient, are nevertheless available to support us so that we can become illuminated, so that we can evolve. We are not here alone. Science is whispering every day, a new planet, new water, new this or that in our solar system or some other solar system. It means something. It means not only the ridiculous question, are we alone? But what does it mean to be able to communicate with energies around us and energies within us? If we are all of carbon atoms, which is the sun and all the other planets in our solar system and our galaxy, it means that we have a point of reference, a connection, through which our potential can expand exponentially. I was thinking of it as I was coming here tonight, how we never access that potential until it's the moment of need. You know, when we forget ourselves and suddenly we do something that's miraculous or that's beyond what we thought we were capable of. What if we carried the consciousness that at every moment was blessing that potential, which was saying, I give my blessing here. I touch this person there, and I'm aware that as I touch them, I'm extending to them my good wishes. I'm extending to them the healing energies. And I think today, as in perhaps no other time, are we so intertwined with animals? Are we so willing and connected to our dogs, to our horses, to our cats, to our birds, because we long for some kind of recognition beyond what we see in the faces of our friends and our family. What we see in the faces of our friends and families and colleagues are usually the limitation of our potential. The expectations. Give me what I want. That's what I thought you would do, etc., etc. And not the face that looks upon us and says, you are magnificent. I knew you could do that. And that very human frailty of hoping that another human will expand our sense of self is what catches us and ensnares us in limitation and smallness. And so we've begun to reach out. And it doesn't matter that we reach out because we feel alone. So we care more about what our dogs are doing or what our horses are doing than what our neighbors are doing. Because any, and especially perhaps, any connection into another realm of consciousness is aiding the speeding up of human consciousness. As we really feel that we look into the face of an animal or a plant or a star and we sense that point of communion, that something is happening. that redefines who we are. As we go into the future, this will occur more and more. And it's not just that it occurs, but that we can use it. That we can use it. That we can discover the future in the fur of the animals, in the complacency. One of my children right now is in the place of the big tsunami off of Thailand. And I'm thinking, is he opening himself to see what the animals, what nature is saying about that at this moment? Because we all know that if the humans had paid attention to what the animals were doing, less lives would have been lost. And so we are at a time, a wonderful time, whereby the inner child that we nurture inside us or that we've forgotten is there, can provide us the window, can provide us the moving away of the veil, so that we can have this kind of connection, and that it has meaning to us, meaning in terms of our potential, meaning in terms of our future and our past. Because what we know at the Light Institute is that the past is as equally capable of being shaken and restructured or dissolved away as is the present or the future. So when we talk about what is human potential right now, for me it's the excitement of not only having experiences that we might not understand, but calling upon them to stretch our minds, to stretch our potential, so that we interface with other worlds, with a sense of who we are in a new way, and not just in the puny limitation of our intellect, but rather with what we call in these magical points of the higher mind in acupuncture, from a more expanded perception of how we integrate the flicker of recognition into the potential of change. What other questions? What other concerns?
I was just thinking that along basically that same line, one of the exciting things that I see happening right now for the human being is actually even being reflected in our sciences in the form of quantum mechanics and string theory. And with the whole idea that we have for a long time had the idea that we live in a material universe. And if we hold that thought, there's already built-in limitation. It's material, it's structure, it's an atom, it has to go like this and this. Well, if we recognize that an atom is really just a harmonic, an energetic harmonic,
Yes.
like the note on a piano, that can be changed. That can be easily changed. So going from there, we recognize that we live in a universe more of a thought form than we do of materialism. Then of course it can be easily changed and expanded, and like a note struck and then bent and stretched and changed, and that harmonic carries to the strings next to it on the piano or the guitar or what have you.
And ripples on.
So that now the human being is literally able to affect change in the thought form universe that we're in. And science is now calling that string theory. And they're touching on exactly that concept. They haven't gathered their proofs yet, and they have had to postulate 12 dimensions. As, of course, you know, there are infinite dimensions, but, you know, they're getting the idea.
Good.
They're getting the idea.
Yes.
And it helped me just watching sort of the latest development in string theory to finally have this little idea crystallize that it's not a material universe. And that was apparently the key that I needed, because it really opened a lot of things for me. Because if it isn't, then that means it's not only subject to change, it's born for change. That's really...
Well, even material
what it
is
is.
born to change.
Yeah,
We have this concept, I'm stuck in my body and this is what it is. Whereas what we truly know now is that the genes are liquid pairings. Therefore, chromosomes and genes and genetics all can be moved through the will of consciousness. And what's so beautiful about that string theory is it's not just rippling out, but that it ties back in this infinite figure eight that we discovered, and the essence of our atoms and the essence of our beingness that moves, as the Chinese always understood, from the unmanifest to the manifest, back and forth. Which means that when you have a thought, there is karma. It ripples out and creates a reaction. Action and reaction. And so we can begin and must begin to play with that from a new perspective. It brings about a new conversation of responsibility. Not in heaviness, but awareness that we are indeed the instrument, but we are also the musician. And we have that right. And in fact, we have the necessity now to go beyond what is structure. But what is important to recognize is that what is structure will return to pure essence. And what is pure essence will come forward and become structure. It's called evolution. And there will always be that linking up. And so, as we were discussing earlier, the beauty of the theory is how we play it, how we recognize that it has some purpose. And so we don't have to be breathless that if we play a note, the skies will fall, but that we must play the note, that that's part of our purpose. And so that comes back to daily life. When we imbue whatever you do in your daily life with a consciousness that looks at its potential, then life becomes different. When we let go of the chores, when we let go of the discipline of, I have to do that because, and instead imbue everything that we do in the most mundane way with consciousness, our whole physical bodies will be completely changed. Everything about us and everything about our world will change. And that's why we want to tie up all of that so that it isn't locked in on how do we make the proof of it. But the proof is what we choose to experience. Even if we don't have the words or the proof of that experience. My higher self says to me again and again, what can you imagine? Could you imagine, would you dare to imagine that you would hold another being in perfect health? And what would that do to your own health? When we begin to see that as we move the energy through us, that we are affected by that energy at the same time. So how many ways can we compose a reality that serves a greater purpose? What else?
You developed a set of sessions called Windows to the Sky.
Yes.
And I'm just curious, the third and fourth day are the golden and silver chakra, and I'm just curious as to why you do the Kundalini in the first 2 days.
Because the Kundalini is really about the life force energy. It's about the tying up of something that seems beyond us and something that passes through our physical form. It's important if we are going to begin to fulfill our destiny of living to be 120, which is our biochemical destiny in health, then we have to access what's moving the energies in our body, what's stuck in our body, be it emotional blockage, physiological, psychogenetic imprints. We have to play within this. So the Kundalini is the life force. The Kundalini is exactly that figure eight that I'm talking about, the linking up of some kind of cosmic purpose with physical form, and the evolution of that physical form throughout a lifetime, from childhood to adolescence to middle age to whatever you are locked into in your mind's eye. But that we can begin to recognize that for thousands of years, people who understood the principles of life and death, who understood how healing occurs, how health is, how miracles are, that they recognized that there was that infolding of the unmanifest and the physical. And so the Kundalini, we spend the first 2 days looking at and being aware that we all have a repertoire of that. We have a repertoire of that, and that it has influenced our physical experiences. And so once we have that, and we clear that, but we access that, then when we move into these higher octaves, we can tie them back in to physical form, which is very important to me, because as I began to fiddle around with unmanifest worlds, I recognized fairly painfully that you can't go swinging out of your body. It's not about being some spiritual being outside of your body. It is about pulling in, anchoring the sky, pulling in energies that are available, how many ever dimensions you want to count, or frequencies you want to count, into this vehicle, because it's this vehicle that makes the difference, because we're in it. We are in it. And we can either be imprisoned in it, or we can wield it. And so when we're looking at the angelic kingdom, or the cosmic kingdoms, we want to be able to bring them into our world. And if we don't work with the Kundalini, we have no mechanism for that. We do not have that purposeful movement. You know, again, that theory of chaos, forget it. It's just seeing things in a limited way. There's purpose in all thought. There's purpose in every flicker. There's purpose in everything. And so we need the Kundalini energy to be part of bringing the energies back through us into our daily lives, so that you have purpose in your life, even if that purpose is to get up and acknowledge a beautiful day, to acknowledge the power of nature, and then to, in the pleasure of that, learn to extend it out from you to whatever's around you.
Thank you.
What else?
So kind of along the lines of health, could you speak a little bit about joint pain, especially for people who feel that that's the normal part of getting older?
Yes. Well, having gone through a little bit of that myself, which had to do with basically ignoring the whisper of the body. Any kind of pain, even if it's a slight little ache over here or a little flutter, that's your body saying, hey, are you listening to me? Something's out of balance. It might be a chemical thing, who knows what it is, but I'm telling you something. And if we learn to recognize what the body's saying, we wouldn't have to have these experiences which we call age-related. Mine are going away, so I'm in a great position here to smile about that and say that I finally started paying attention. And what I would say about age is what I've always said about age, is that all the nutritionists and all the alternative doctors and all the people who pay attention to the body are constantly saying, well, when you're 20, you have these hormones, and then you have these enzymes, and then you have these, this and that and the other. But as you age, they all go away. No, that's not true. It's not true. It's not scientifically true. And I found something recently discussing and the age in the skin, which had to do with the fact that things that, for example, stem cells, which recreate us, help us to move the old out and become new again, are simply hibernating, which is what my higher self has been telling me for 30 years. That what happens is that as we go through life and we become focused on our daily life and not on the connection to ourselves and our bodies, is that we lose our will. So, for example, the receptors on the membranes of cells fall asleep. They stop receiving enzymes, they stop receiving hormones, because the primordial says, I'm an adult, I'm done procreating, so I'm out like the wildflower, goodbye. So some part of us wants to leave our body, some part of us wants to end this human experience. So it's not about getting older, it's about losing the will, it's about losing the attention, it's about feeling as if, oh, my fat, oh, my wrinkles, oh, my joints are telling me that I am no longer important. I can no longer, in terms of the primordial body, I can no longer catch the mate, I can no longer procreate, so I have no purpose. Or I thought when I was young that my life would be this way, and I look around and my life is full of nothing that looks anything like that. And so the depression and the limitation scar us and put us to sleep. And that is what brings on the age-related conversation. Now, what I have discovered about joints and the pain in joints is that most of that has to do, again, with imbalances of nourishing the self. Specifically, in terms of that, copper and calcium. And so the doctors think, if you have kidney stones or you have osteoarthritis and it's calcium deposits. Yes, but those deposits are there because we have a lack of deposits. We have a lack of calcium functioning in our bodies. And so we need more calcium, and we need a different kind of calcium than we've had before. The same is true with copper. And so I've been very excited to be listening to an expert on that recently, who's been talking about how as we go on in life, we lose those minerals. We can't get them from the soil. They're essential minerals. And minerals, more so than vitamins, are what stimulate the accessing or the creating of enzymes. And it's those enzymes and hormones that make us juicy and young. And so we must find a way to change it. But when I was going through the difficulty in the joints, and I tried this, and I tried that, and I tried all the various combinations of stuff, in the end, I have to smile and tell you that what actually took the pain out the most, or changed the flexibility, or all of that, was light. It was actually me focusing on my body and saying, what do you want? Now, if I were intelligent enough to say, do you want copper, do you want calcium, do you want it in this form, I'm sure it would tell me. But it has been amazing to me that, in effect, again, when we go to the threshold of the material world, because most of light in the universe is not visible to us, so we would say it's immaterial in a way, it comes from that essence. But what I would like to say to everyone is that there is, as my higher self has told me from the beginning, there really is no disease that does not have a solution. Sometimes we have to cut it out, sometimes we have to replace it, sometimes we have to do this or that. But if we used consciousness in that, our results would be completely different. If we said, is this what you want? Do you want this? Do you want that? And the body could tell us, which it would. And we followed the mandates of the body. All of these things which are based on not being home, would fall away. And it's amazing if you could listen inside yourself how many excuses you have for the shapes of your bodies. How many, like the joint thing, I never noticed it because my father had it, and after all I did deep tissue work and I blew out my knuckles, and I went on for years with that conversation until one day I said, wait a minute, the result is the same. It's not a good enough excuse. It's not a good enough excuse, body, stop it. And lo and behold, my body has stopped it. And it's reversing itself right now. And so I want to give that little gift to everyone, to on the one hand say, how many ways are you upholding excuses in your body. It's because. And how many times are you saying, show me body, tell me body, what do you want? That could be in light, it could be in food, it could be in exercise, it could be in thought, in 1,000 ways your body could show you. So let's just do a little exercise in consciousness right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath into your body, and ask any part of your body that really needs to speak to you, that needs something that's out of balance at this moment to show itself. You may feel a little sensation in a part of your body, an organ of your body. To see what part of your body wants to speak to you right now. And let yourself imagine what part of your body is calling to you. And whatever you get, focus your awareness in that part of your body. Take a deep breath and say, body, what do you want? And just see, you might image strawberries. You might see a flash of light. You might see yourself exercising. You might see some other food or meditation. Just take a deep breath. See what your body shows you. And whatever that is, in whatever form you see it, just take a deep breath and imagine that that form, whether it's a sumptuous meal or it's an exercise or it's a beam of light, that it's going into that part of your body, that you're lasering it in, that you're giving it to that part of your body. And take a deep breath and open your eyes. Actually, that can be quite fun, and it's a wonderful thing to do when you go to bed at night or when you get up in the morning. It's setting more than just what does my physical body need from me, but it's also acknowledging that you exist, because we get so busy with the outside world that sometimes we forget we exist. Tell us, please, what was the part of your body that was calling to you?
Well, I kind of felt it in my heart and around my heart, and I just felt that it wanted that, strength of a muscle contracting, and with it the sort of kind of a crimson red, almost blood-like frequency.
Yes, fantastic. And the beauty of that, going back to your conversation, the string conversation and our conversation of potential, is that when you actually say, fine, let me give this beautiful frequency to my heart, your heart, actually the heart muscle will respond to that. And I've experienced that with many, many, many people. And so that's the beauty of consciousness. Thank you. What else?
Just following along that conversation, you mentioned that what makes us age is really the scarring and the losing the will, etc. How can we pierce through that to find a different will?
Mm-hmm. The thing that, again, there are two aspects to that. One is the primordial body, which is this part that says my purpose in life is to reproduce, and to protect myself, and then to die. So we want to actually connect with that part and begin to meld it into higher frequencies. To do that, we have to amplify our sense of self. And so all of the consultations that we do here, all of the sessions that we do here, support that amplification of the sense of self, so that your body has an opportunity, to, just as we did in this little exercise, to tell us what it wants, and also to expand its sense of how it can communicate and what it can receive. So that your will is not just about your goals. Because again, in our culture, in the Western world, we have been brought up to satisfy the social format from the time we're very, very small, before we're 2, that says this is how you fit in, this is how you are successful, this is how you measure yourself. So we haven't been given any templates of measuring the self. A self that could forget time, a self that could be in absolute peace with the sunshine, or sitting in the back of a horse, or simply removing oneself from that, what is out in front of me? What must I attain in order to be worthy? So we need to review our religions, and that's why I wrote the book, The Evolution of God, to review that sense of unworthiness, that we had to somehow do something that would say we're worthy. We are all worthy. We are brave, wondrous beings walking the face of the earth, awaiting our awakening in here to say, I am that I am, no better, no worse, and I find it good, which is what the Brazilians say. So, to release ourselves from that, we need to take ourselves away as many moments as we can. And when I've asked people, tell me a moment in which you have felt that you loved yourself, or that you felt centered, or you felt happy. It's never when they're pleasing someone else. It's never when they're successful doing whatever. It's always in nature. It's always some moment when they forgot that they should be this way, or they should look that way, or they should do the other. But for a moment, when they were at peace with themselves. And so I would say that the way that you do that is to amplify experiencing yourself in a peaceful way. And letting your body, indeed, show you what that is. It might be sitting still, it might be taking a walk, it might be looking at the stars. What's so interesting to me is that it's those flickers that come and go so rapidly that we sometimes forget, that are the key to healthy bodies and sense of self that's at peace. Because the flicker comes in, we have that moment of looking at the shooting star, or the beautiful, as we do in Galisteo, the beautiful nights, star-filled nights that we have. And we wake up in the morning, and the first thing we start doing is aligning, I should do this, I have to do that, I have to do the other thing. Rather than, by the way, recognizing that if you were actually to use the potential of human consciousness, you could gather all the things you had to do that day and put them together and let some mysterious energy form this is the way it goes. So that you would find that the person called you at the right time, you were in the right place at the right time, or that you suddenly realized how to resolve the issue. This illusion that we ourselves, with our limited little, puny little minds, have to figure it out. We don't have to struggle the way we struggle. We could really say, I know the answer will come to me, and let it come to us. We ourselves create most of the struggles and the blockages that we have, and most of that sense of, I've lost my will. Why have you lost your will? How ridiculous when we talk about age, that you're not who you were when you were 16, but who are you now, and what do you have to offer now? And so to pit ourselves against something that doesn't belong to us is the epitome of stupidity, I have to say. What we want to do is embrace and to expand. What are my gifts right now? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath into your body and ask your body and your higher self, the intuitive essence of your soul, to give you a word that describes a gift you have. Something, it might be your laughter, your intelligence, your strength. And just see, what is it that you have at this moment that's fantastic? And open your eyes. You could take that one word. What did you get?
Love.
Love?
Mm-hmm.
You could take, delicious. You take that one word and imagine how many ways you can play that. Love to give, love to receive, all kinds of love. How would you spew love? How can you do it with your touch? How can you do it with your eyes? How can you call it to you? You could spend a lifetime playing with the one word that's given to you. Imagine such a thing. What did you get?
Strength.
Strength. So often we feel that we don't have the strength. And when we know that we do, when we know that we have that strength, usually we figure out that we have strength because we've been through a lot of ordeals, you know. But what we want to do is to gather the energies we've created through those and apply them to our everyday life. Not just to, I have to be strong because the next challenge is coming to me, but to carry the strength, to carry that strength and to pass it out so that when we look at someone, we look at them with the eyes of strength. And by looking at them, they will feel strong as well. See, we can ripple out and give to the people around us. And you can be sure that if I ask you at this moment to name 3 people around you who are feeling helpless at this moment, it wouldn't take you a second to do it. You could easily go, boom, boom, boom. People that you know, that are close to you, that are trembling, that are wobbling, that are unsure. Strength. Strength. Such a gift. This world needs strength. And again, what I want to say about that is that it's not the strength to endure. It's not the strength to overcome. It's the strength of the essence. It's the purpose of being here. It's the gift you have to give. And you carry that. And when you carry that, everyone around you feels like, I feel stronger. Maybe they project it onto you. Maybe they'll say, I feel strong because she's here. I can do it because she's saying I can do it. Or she is here. So be it. So be it. That's a gift as well. To lend our presence, to echo out to others, to say you're not alone. I will take my strength and put it with your strength. We don't have to see their weaknesses. We don't have to see their wobbles. We could look for their strength. At the Light Institute, we have an expression which is to pierce the heart. By that, we mean to look at the one thing that you know someone needs. So if somebody around you needs strength, then you look for that strength in them. And you might tell them, that's well done. You are stronger than you think you are, you know? Or you may just communicate it with your heart, or a touch that you give them. There are 1,000 ways to wield the strength that you have. I love that. Great. How about you?
Kindness.
Kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And in connection with what you were just saying, I discovered in my lifetime that it seems ironic, but strength is what gives, especially the male, the ability to express kindness.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not worried about proving your strength, then you're able to be kind.
That's
And
right.
know that if anybody mistakes that for weakness,
The other is
they can
behind
make
you,
another
within
discovery.
you. That's right. That's right. That strength really isn't this thing. It's not the armor. It's the energy that comes from within and moves out.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have a sense of our strength, then we can afford to be kind. Because we don't have to be king of the mountain. And I think that's one of the things that everyone on this planet is learning right now. It's not who's on top. It's how can we connect to each other in such a way that we discover a new kind of strength. And so we can indeed afford kindness. And kindness means showing or applauding the strength of someone else. My higher self would say it this way: the stronger you are, the stronger I can be. The kinder you are, the kinder I can be. And as we do that, then we begin to create an energy that speaks in a different way. Not just survival, not just winning, but something else that we need so much to pass through this initiation onto the next level of what it is to be on this planet, to live in our lives. Thank you. What else?
I was wondering, taking the conversation somewhere completely different,
Yes.
about the psychic surgeons or those psychic
Yes.
healers. what is the purpose of their soul to have an experience like that where they heal a lot of people, but they allow other beings to come through them, so they are not
Yes.
even really present?
Yes.
What can you say? What is
Well, of
it?
course, we would umbrella that by saying karma, which simply means that there is some purpose in doing that, and that it is a contract or vow that they have created. But underneath that will always be that difficult dance that we all have. How can we be powerful without having that entwine us with the sense of self in a way that is that separates us from others, that says mine against yours. So any good healer knows you're never doing it anyway. It's got to come from somewhere. And so what happens with them is that they, specific through their religions, through their whatever that karma is that they have, they simply take the attention off the self and say, I will not claim the power. Maybe they don't claim the power like many psychics or healers or people who have special talents because they've been burned at the stake, because they have been punished as children for 1,000 things that happen to you whenever what makes you different sticks out. And so it's much easier to say, oh, the guy up there is doing it. Well, the guy up there may be doing it. But also very interesting to see, what's the guy up there doing? You know, I thought that's what I wanted to be when I was 13. I saw a video when I was 13 of a Brazilian healer who used rusty knives. And he would take this rusty knife and he would stick it into people's eyes. And they videoed this. Psychic researchers from Harvard and other universities, and he would pull the eye out, stick the knife in, and then suddenly they would be able to see again. And I was struck by the magic. And so magic is the word we want to use there. What happens to the person? The person is longing. The person feels that they could never heal themselves, that this has been done to them, that the body is punishing them, and that if they could just be relieved of that, somehow they would be better. And this is a gift, you know, that when we come to the point of death, when we have some terrible thing happen to us and someone then takes it away, we feel the gratitude of survival. And it allows us to focus on feeling that we can do it better, so to speak. We can be better people. And so there's a gift that everyone there, whether it's the spirit who still feels that they have karma on this planet and uses that person. Now, what I have noticed working with some of the great healers and psychics on the planet is that very often those spirits that they are using are themselves in other incarnations of the soul. And that's a very interesting conversation as well. But all three, the spirit, the vehicle, and the recipient, all three of them are bound. And so they are creating a vibration that allows the essence to become the doing, to create a different result. You know? And I would like to break that spell and have someone who could do that say, it is my higher self, it is my cosmic soul that passes through me and allows me to be the vehicle. If we could be conscious, you don't have to go away to do that, you could be conscious. If you could use your consciousness, I think that you could develop even better and unthought of, unimagined ways to move from the helplessness of a disease, or the sense that a body is punishing us, or the body is simply the vehicle of being punished because we deserve to be being punished, because God is punishing us, or whatever yak you've got going on in there, that you could release that. And so I think that it is a great gift to have psychic surgeons in the world. And I would long for them to be able to do that without, what I've seen very often is fall into that pattern of, I am unworthy, so therefore the other guy is going to do it, the spirit is going to do it. rather than we are all worthy. And if you have witnessed, as I've witnessed over 500, probably, number more than 500 psychic surgeries being performed, and that by witnessing something, just like with firewalking, we discovered that we ourselves could choose that we could do that. But again, the law of permission comes into play there. That's why in the old days in North America, for example, the Native American would sit by and let you flop around for 3 or 4 or 5 days until you're exhausted. And then they would come along and help you to heal. But they wouldn't just go, oh, you want to be healed? Oh, okay, I'll heal you. They would make sure that you came into a place that actually made you ready to be healed. And I witnessed this again and again and again, that people who could easily heal themselves will not do it. They will not do it. Why? Because emotionally they are attached to it in some way. They feel they deserve it. They are caught in the thought form that says, I'm helpless, the body's doing it to me. Or it's because, or whatever those things are that make them actually back away when they have the opportunity to heal themselves, back away from healing themselves. So it's a fascinating dance, the choices that people make. What I would want to say to everyone is, just as we were doing a little while ago, what's the word that describes you at this moment? Take that word and allow it to expand in you so that we can use the being and the doing, and the doing and the being in concert with each other, in harmonic recognition and acknowledgement of the visible and the invisible, because all change comes from the invisible, from pure energy, and ripples back, out and back and out and back with the figure, the eternal figure eight. So we need to practice. This is a time where, will you even let yourself practice? I can remember when I first used to teach little children in Galisteo to call the rain. And I would talk about it in Europe, and people would say, well, how dare you do that? You don't have the right to do that. Why? The rain doesn't mind raining. We've always been doing it for 4,000 years. Why should we not call the rain? Why should we not create psychic surgery? Why should we not be both sides of the equation? So what's really important in the world today is to begin to think about the magic or the mystery or the possibility, and imagine that you are doing it. Practice doing it. Every great being who's ever walked this planet has said that. You do it, you do it. Why are we not doing it? Simply because we're afraid to practice, and because we have that little funnel initiation to go through, which says, I have permission to do it. And I don't have to beat my breast and say, I'm doing it. Because that's, of course, the biggest illusion. But I also don't have to pull down some spirit and lock them in the astral and say, oh, you do it for me. Because I'm not worthy. Those are all thought forms that came in the Judeo-Christic era that do not serve humanity, do not serve our potential or our future. What else?
I sort of have a question about ears, or more specifically about the earlobe, because there are some people who have really pronounced or big earlobes, and others you can't tell that there's an earlobe; it just goes straight around. I was just wondering if if you feel there's any significance to that, or in terms of the.
I think the whole body, everything in the body is significant. The Chinese for thousands of years have been doing face reading and understanding that each part of the body, well, we know that scientifically, is first of all is imprinted in the ears themselves and in the brain, so that there's nothing that wanders around by itself in your body. So whether you have big ears or little ears tells a story. Now in Chinese medicine, we would say that the earlobes relate to the kidneys. Kidneys are the deepest energy in the body. The kidneys feed the heart. They filter the blood, therefore they give strength and nourishment to the heart. They hold the ancestral chi, or again the psychogenetic potential of your body, what have you inherited from your great-great-grandparents about strength, about physicality. So the larger the earlobe, they would say, means the longer the life, or the more healthy the life. And so I, who was born with very small earlobes, like to pull on my earlobes. The little point where people usually stick their earrings relates again to the kidneys, but also, or hearing, but also there's a point on the earlobes that relates to the eyes. So ears and eyes, hearing, all of those are stuck in this little tiny little thing as big as your thumb. And so you want to pull down and stretch that. That may be the only good thing about piercing your ears. When you pierce your ears, you deaden points of reference in your ears, so it's probably not a great idea. The same token, I would always say, pull up. Everybody pull up on your ears, because in Chinese medicine we say the higher the ears are, and the more intelligent you are. So pull up on your ears. Also, when you're pulling up on your ears, what you're doing is you're massaging some points in the back of the ears, which will bring your blood pressure down. And so bringing your blood pressure down just, again, supports your body. So what I would say is that massaging your ears is probably, if there were one thing you could do to support the healing of the body, or the fluid the motion of the body, it would be to massage your ears. Whether you're sticking your finger in your ears, rolling around in your ears, your heart, all of your inner organs, your arms, your fingernails, everything is portrayed in the ears. And that's why ear acupuncture is very, very successful and has been used for thousands of years. So by doing this, you are actually touching every part of your body and saying, hello, I recognize you're here. This is for you, body, be well. So earlobes are very important to our health and to our sense of self. Now, I wrote a book called Soul Bodies, in which I showed how when we talk about potential, or the genetic encoding of angels or galactics or Devic kingdom of nature, that the way that the ears combine or are fitted to our head tells a story of that kind of potential within us as well. So I always am very interested in what your ears are doing, how they're laid upon your head, and how you go through the process of that. There was a time when I was a child when my ears stuck straight out, because I was in that Devic kingdom world, that fairy elfin world, and so my ears stuck out like that. Now, when we do the science of cranial therapy, we know that that simply means that your bones at the temporal lobes of your head are pressed in very far, so your ears are sticking out. You can shift that, you can change it. You can change anything. But what you want to do is to listen to the body telling you how that should be changed, or where the balance of that is. So thank you. We are most fun. What else?
Last week, Bruce asked a great question. It was about 2012, and I think it was Bruce. And I just received a letter from someone who's totally in the corporate world, completely immersed in that. And within the context of the letter, they said, I don't remember what started, but something that, and if you pay attention to the Mayan calendar, this may be our last few months on the planet. You know, my mouth dropped up. But while you were answering Bruce's question last week, you said, it's not what we're doing right now that matters. It's what we hold in our consciousness. And that's what you were saying to everyone concerning the 2012 question. And you just wove that into the answer. Will you expand upon that, please, for all the people out there who are worrying about this?
Yes. First of all, I get a big smile on my face and say, just give it up. You may have been Mayan in times past, or you may have a point of reference for that. There's an end of a cosmic cycle. Whenever there's an end, there's a beginning. We are the agents of change. We are the agents of the beginning. And so we want to focus on how and what needs to be structured now. Maybe we have grown up as a species, and we no longer need the particular galactic support that the Mayans used to give them the scientific information. They didn't use it very well, I said last week. You know, they went around cutting out each other's hearts. It's not a very good use of health or capacity to tell you when to plant your plants or where the stars are. And so let us do it better. Let us use our human propensity to take a moment in time to mark it, 2012, no, December, January, May, whatever month, whatever moment it is, and say, this is auspicious, this is important. Let us use that in a powerful way. Let us say, okay, we mark this spot, and we mark it as if we're going to leap into the sky afterwards. And that in so doing, we're going to come to the next illumination. We're going to move past the veil that blocks the vision of the future and describe and become that future ourselves. And so it's fine to say, okay, 12/21/2012 is a moment. I smile and say, well, it's going to be a little after that anyway. And then it's going to be a little after that, and it's already happened. So what we need to do now is to really imagine and work within our consciousness how we want to be as cosmic beings in a new world, rather than in the end. The end is just, okay, that's done. Congratulate ourselves, we finished. If we're the Mayans and that was the length of our consciousness, good, we're done. So let us be done and think about the things you need to be done with, and begin to think about the things that you want to start with great humor, great strength, great kindness, great love.